Dr. Walls and Friends. I am here with Cassandra and Patrick Doyle, and we've been talking about travel. And in the last segment, we were talking about your first experience on a cruise. You went from not wanting to do one to now, let's book the next one.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk about some cruises. You mentioned an inaugural cruise that you went on. What cruise lines do you work with?
So I work with all cruise lines.
Okay, good.
I have ones that I'm fond of that I like to utilize more. They would be, should I name them?
Sure.
Okay. A Disney Cruise Line.
You never know, they might be sponsors
Never
of
know.
Dr. Walls and
I
Friends.
actually booked a Disney Cruise Line in the car on the way
Look
here.
at that.
Had to get it in. So a Disney Cruise Line, Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, MSC, which is a European cruise line. I absolutely love them. Very reasonable price point.
Okay.
I did that in the Mediterranean last year, and we're booked on an MSC one in March, taking the children for the first time on a cruise.
Where are you going?
We are going to Honduras, Belize. Where else?
And their island
Their
in the
private
Bahamas.
island in the Bahamas
They have
and
another one that has
Mexico.
Okay. Now that's one thing that you did mention while we were off camera was that a lot of the cruise lines have their own islands now.
Yes, that's a new hip thing. Disney actually had theirs for a very long time.
Really?
Which is wonderful. And now they have some other islands. Royal has their own island, Norwegian has their own island, and MSC has their own island. So they're in the Bahamas.
And they're named.
They're named,
islands.
they're
Really?
named islands,
Okay.
Like who's Coco Cay?
Coco Cay is Royal.
Royal Caribbean. So
Okay.
there are names, so you could actually look at them on a map.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and
good
see
to
them.
know.
So it's really great because it's an opportunity to get off the ship
Yes.
and really just enjoy an island atmosphere and beach activities and excursions and swim up bars and all sorts of stuff in a very large acreage area. Some of them even have zip lining, horseback riding, races.
Wow.
So there's a lot to do.
We did jet skis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jet
Did
skis.
you?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
it was
do
fun.
jet skis, so that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting.
They make nice they have you
won't
lay
go
on the
into that.
beach and they bring you frozen, drinks.
We went jet skiing and then we went out to a starfish area and we went down, dove and
nice.
Starfish like
picked up
this
starfish.
big.
Oh my gosh,
Huge.
huge. So
Wow.
yeah, so I mean you can incorporate excursions
Yes.
within the island setting as well. So so that was
So
really
people
cool.
can really get a full experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You've also mentioned that there's a number of restaurants or clubs, entertainment and so forth that happen on cruises as well?
Absolutely. Anything from casinos. Most of the cruise lines do have casinos for those of us that have to, hit the roulette. Roulette's the other thing.
Yes, the
You know,
jackpot.
the jackpot.
Slot machines.
Yes,
That's
there
it.
we
See?
go. We're showing our
Obviously,
age.
who spends time on the cruise? I just go for the free drinks. So you could do that. They have kids clubs, anything from like a nursery all the way up to teens clubs, things along those lines. They have spas. You can get your spa treatments. What else do they have?
Oh,
The
the
food,
one last
different
ship we were on
bars.
had a F1 go-kart track
On the roof.
on the roof.
Get
So the
out.
go-karts racing
Yeah,
on the roof.
that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
A lot of them have the virtual reality rooms now
Okay.
where you can do all kinds. Like one of the things they had on there was you actually walk a plank and then drop.
Oh my goodness.
And it's this virtual reality.
Yeah.
You drop into like a padded area, but it's really like
Really
literally
good stuff.
walking off the plank.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool stuff.
Do that.
Wow.
Sports courts,
Basketball,
simulated
paddle.
golf. Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I mean, there's
something
just
for everybody.
absolutely. If you cannot find something to do on a cruise, then you should have never left the dock.
Okay.
Or just stay in the dining room with me and you'll be fine.
Or do that. Yeah.
Now, how about as far as family? So sometimes people travel and they want to take children. Sometimes people travel and they don't want to be bothered with children.
Correct.
Are there cruises or vacation locations that you recommend for either or both?
On a cruise or just
All the above, travel period.
So if you wanted to do something where it's just an adults only location, then you really want to focus on those cruise lines that are more geared towards adult oriented ones. So some of them are like your Crystal, your Symphony, the Emma, like the Waterways, the river cruises are more
Okay.
focused on an adult clientele. Holland America also is
Yes.
as well. So those, you kind of look for that.
Okay.
In the Caribbean, there's definitely locations that are going to be adults only focused as well. Beaches and Sandals is a huge conglomerate of
Yes.
resorts. Sandals is the adults-only version, Beaches is the family-friendly version.
Okay.
So they're top-notch as well.
Okay.
So there's definitely, locations wherever you're going to go that you
And I've
that you
even
find
noticed
that.
on some of the other ships, they have adult areas. They may have kids on board,
Interesting.
Yeah.
but they have
Okay.
like an adults-only pool,
Right.
Okay.
you know, other areas that are adults-only
Okay.
for the travelers that may not have kids or,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Right. Even on Disney cruise, Disney has a lot of adults-only cruises that cruise.
Really?
Absolutely.
I had
Who
no
wouldn't want to
idea.
get a picture with Captain Mickey?
That's,
And then go to the spa afterwards. Come on.
and I wondered about that,
Yeah.
whether or not the amount of adults that go on Disney cruises as well as to Disney World, because I know so many adults that enjoy going.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Happiest place on earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So segue into that is
Yeah.
with the Disney World is I usually every year go on an annual girls getaway, and it happens to be friends that we went to high school with. We also went to high school
Yes.
together,
Yes.
and other friends, and we go down there and we just escape for about 3 nights and do all fun things that
Yeah.
we normally can't do when we're toting diaper bags around or baby wipes or
Yes.
who needs a bathroom break or who needs a lollipop.
That's right.
You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So
Yes.
you just, go and
Now,
enjoy.
one of the things that you mentioned, and it's so funny, because I have not been to Disney, I won't tell you in how long.
Okay.
I
I won't be.
But
offended.
yeah, you won't be.
No.
It's been a long, long time.
Here, but look, you can act
What's
like
that?
you are now.
Oh,
Well,
Let me
your
get it.
arms are longer.
got it.
Yeah, see? There.
Oh.
So you may not have gone to Disney, but you
I
can.
can wear that.
You can wear that.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, I feel magical
There you go,
already.
just for the time
I
being.
do. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Just for the record,
Yes.
we've been to Disney so many times. I've never worn the mouse ears.
you will not.
Just saying, I
Oh,
will not.
okay.
I have an entire collection.
Yes.
It's on a couple shelves in my office.
Mm-hmm. Question for you. I know a lot of times families want to surprise their children with going to Disney, and they'll pick 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and I've heard mixed reviews. When would you say or recommend families take children to Disney? When do you see them having a real appreciation for it and a tolerance for standing in lines and the amount of people and so forth?
Okay, very good question. We're not going to be your typical people because our
Okay.
answers are, we took our oldest when he was 16 months old.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And every morning he would go over to the stroller and point and go out Mickey.
Right.
But when it was late in the evening, it was not so magical.
not so
Uh-huh.
He was
magical.
ready to go.
And then our youngest was about a year. He took some of his first steps on Main Street and had his very first haircut at the barber shop.
But there's a gap between them, so, it worked out. So I would take, the older one on rides, and,
Okay.
that type of thing.
Okay.
I guess the answer really can be determined by how much you feel you can withstand,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
Financially, if you take them before they turn 3, then they're free. So it's a great opportunity to go ahead and stay at a
Wow.
deluxe resort at a higher price point where you're only paying for 2 guests as opposed to paying for
That's
your
great
children.
to know.
So that's really helpful to
Yes,
know.
it is.
3 and beyond, you're going to have a price point involved, but there's something for every age at Disney.
Okay.
So, I think it's just really determines about how much you can withstand the endurance level. But you
Yes.
have to be realistic.
Yeah.
I build in downtime to your trip. I make sure that, you have extra late mornings some days that you come back and you use the pool and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because it can be overwhelming,
Yes.
even for parents. The good news is you're there, and not only are the children having mental breakdowns, the parents are having mental
Yes.
breakdowns. The
Yes.
dining plan now allows you to substitute your drink for an alcoholic beverage.
Okay.
So for parents, that's super helpful.
The nuns are watching this.
The
You know,
nuns like wine too.
It's so,
you know.
it's so funny. As a therapist, I've actually received calls from families in Disneyland.
Really?
Yes, in Disney
Wow.
World calling me because
the
their-
meltdown?
because their
Nice.
parents are having the meltdown, children are having the meltdown, and I've recommended the same thing: take them to some water, cool them off, take them back to the hotel, come back at another time. Everybody go take a nap.
Exactly.
So that it can
Exactly.
remain a positive memory.
Yep.
I mean, it's a very physical thing going to, there's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
It's, long hours. It's almost
Yeah.
like a job.
Yeah.
The greatest thing I'll tell you though, the first couple of years taking the kids, it was like this isn't a vacation. And it was like, when you got home, you wanted to take a vacation because it was
Okay.
like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when the kids were old enough and you've been there enough, it's a lot more relaxing and casual.
Okay.
Because there's no, they've been to it before, so there's not that, hey, we gotta go to the park right
Right.
now. It's like, hey, do you guys wanna go sit by the pool for a while
Yeah.
and relax? So it's a lot more relaxed,
Okay.
especially as you go on.
Okay.
I mean, shameless plug, you just need to book with us multiple trips.
Well, look
at
at
different
that.
stages of your life. So,
Let's look at that.
There you
And
go.
let's talk about, there's other places. So now here's the honest truth. I
Okay.
haven't been to Disney inside since like Epcot opened.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's in
I
the
know when
80s.
that was because I had my picture taken in front of the ball
See?
at Epcot. Yep.
Exactly, right. So
With
that
my
was.
mother with her ATN
Mm-hmm.
That's-
raincoat.
That
That's
was
back
via
in the
a Norwood-
80s.
Yes, it was. And
Yeah.
that was with a Norwood trip.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
went with, I think it was Molly Fallon, so,
Oh.
yeah, so, I mean, long time ago.
That was, yes.
So now, what is there for people to see at Disney? What are the different locations?
So there's 4 theme parks at Disney, and then there's 2 water parks. The 4 theme parks are the Magic Kingdom, which is the iconic one where you see most of the rides in the castle. Epcot, which is the international countries. They are building some other roller coasters there now as well, so they've got some great things going on there.
Good food.
Okay.
Good food. See, always goes back to food.
It's
And a
important.
tidbit, each country, those people working in each country
Yes.
are actually from those
Oh,
countries.
really?
And they're over here on a program that they
Oh,
run there.
nice.
So,
It's a true international
It is.
experience.
so when you eat in
absolutely.
France,
You're eating.
French people made
That's
that.
Would you like a croissant?
That's right.
Can I have some French fries? No, go ahead.
You didn't know you were getting all this.
I
when
kn-
you-
I
when you
did
were
know.
writing
I
this.
did
You
know.
You've
Yes,
known me long
I
enough.
guess.
So we leave French fries where they are, and
Yes.
we move to Animal Kingdom. So
Okay.
Animal Kingdom is, they have the safari, so they recreate it like you're in Africa and things
Okay.
like that. There's
of
Everest is
animals.
there.
Okay.
Animal Kingdom is a very heavily covered foliage park, so it tends to get very hot.
Okay.
So I tend
Humid
to,
a little bit.
yeah.
Okay.
But it's
Suggest guests
great.
do like, yeah, it's a great park. Just maybe do like a day till like 3
Okay.
o'clock or something.
All
you
right.
know. And then the last one is Hollywood Studios,
Yes.
which is the really booming one right now because Star Wars is there, and we have all the great Star Wars things going on.
Yes.
Star Wars Toy Story World is also there as well. So there's a lot of good things going on there as well. And then there's 2 water parks,
Yes.
so you can do that. So
Okay.
you can find a lot of stuff. Do golfing,
Mm-hmm.
mini golf,
Okay.
spas. When I just went last month,
Yes.
I surprised my friends
Yes,
at the
you did.
airport,
Yes.
and I had booked us for princess makeovers
Mhm.
at the Grand Floridian Spa when we got there. So we went in and we had our hair and makeup and eyelashes done, and I couldn't open my eye for the rest of the evening because I had things out here. But it was really cool.
Oh,
So
that's
it
nice.
was a lot of fun.
All right, so we have these upcoming spring breaks, graduations, summer vacations. Recommendations, where should people go? Or any hot deals on the books where
Let's
they
see.
should call you immediately?
I mean, the big
Immediately,
ones are
yeah.
always like the Caribbean,
Right,
Mexico, that type of thing.
Yeah, from this region in
Yes.
particular, there are certain locations that are better for the East Coast for nonstop flights.
Okay.
So you're looking at anywhere in the Caribbean. From Philadelphia specifically, your 3 best locations are Jamaica, Punta Cana, and Riviera Maya, Mexico, because you get
Oh.
direct flights.
Okay.
Aruba and Turks and Caicos also you can do,
Uh-huh.
the Bahamas as well. So any of those sorts of destinations, you can do that. So those are always really big at spring break times.
Okay.
Walt Disney World is also big, Universal Studios, I book a lot of that. But sometimes you can even think outside of the box. I just was sharing with my husband last week, I saw a fabulous deal to go over to England at spring break, and I said, oh, maybe we should do that. He says, maybe you should get off the internet.
Where's that?
So I asked my youngest, I said, listen, you have a long break. Do you want to fly over to London with mommy? And he's like, why? And I said, we'll take the train. We'll go to Disneyland Paris for the day. He's like, but why?
But-
And he said, well, how long is the flight? And I said, well, about 6 hours. Oh, no. He's like, you could take me to Florida. But that's the capacity of a 10-year-old.
Right,
So they don't
right.
see it that long. But, outside of the box, Europe is great for spring break.
One of the
time
big
here.
ones
Yeah.
right now is Iceland is huge.
Iceland is huge, yes.
My
That's
older brother
beautiful.
loves Iceland.
Yes. So
You see
we
the
had looked
northern
at that.
lights, and
Yeah.
it's, just beautiful.
Yeah.
We looked at that, and then we looked at the temperature, and we saw negative
Mhm.
temperatures in April.
You have, that, you specifically have to go there at a certain time of the year.
That's
Yeah.
not really happening, even with the geothermal spas,
Right,
it's not
right.
happening.
Not
So,
going.
yeah.
Okay.
So, skiing, you go out west.
Yes.
Another great idea actually is Vegas, because Vegas is very reasonable. There's a ton of resorts and hotels to choose from, and you very easily can go take some excursions, go to the Hoover
Yeah.
Dam, go to Grand
Yeah,
Canyon.
yeah.
So,
The Red Rocks.
yeah,
Red Rocks Canyon, been
and
there.
that's a really great price point. In the
Yeah.
end, ultimately comes down to what is your realistic budget.
Yeah.
Realistically, you're not going for a family of 4 for a week for an all-inclusive, top-notch 5 stars, and you've got $5,000 to
Right.
spend. Unfortunately, your airfare is going to cost you
That's
that
right.
these days. So
That's
I
right.
think my job is to really figure out what ultimately you can spend, and let's find you something in that capacity.
Okay. Let's talk about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back with the final segment.
Okay.
Let's talk about some budgeting that
Okay.
would be helpful for people.
Mhm.
All right, and then we're going to talk about this award that you just received as well.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. All right, we'll be back in a moment on Dr. Walls and Friends.